We're going to be both mapping out sentences and creating some original sentences in this video. So if you remember, we have a subject predicate, we have prepositional and verb phrases. So that's what we're going to be mapping out in sentences that are already there. And then we're going to create some original sentences, not ones that I come up with, but ones that you guys can come up with using what we know about a complete sentence and putting it all together. This will help you when you're writing to be able to write complete sentences, both using subject predicates, prepositional phrases, and verb phrases, using some of those auxiliary or those helping verbs that we have a copy of in our work package. So take your time. If this becomes a little complicated, break it up into sections and complete it and turn it in on Friday. These are some practice worksheets. They'll also be your test, so your test will look exactly the same as this. You won't know which one you're getting. There's 3 of these for mapping and writing complete sentences. Now, we've been looking at subject and predicates, preposition and verb phrases, and auxiliary and main verbs. There is an example here, 5 ones that you should map out, and I'll show you how to do that. And then you need to come up with 3 original sentences. So let's go ahead and read the instructions. Map the sentences below and then create 3 original sentences of your own. Include all 3 parts of a sentence's structure. Subject predicate. We show that by dividing the sentence into the subject part, which is who we're talking about. The predicate part is what the action is. Prepositions and their nouns. So we use P for prepositions and N to identify the nouns. Circle the prepositional phrases. Okay, so the prepositional phrases are going to be circled. Okay. Identify the helping and main verbs. So the helping verbs are going to have V's over it, and the main verbs are going to have V's over it. Okay. And we're going to underline them. Okay, underline the verb phrases. So let's go ahead and look at this first example. My sister should have been waiting for me near the car. So you go to Walmart, you go to the car, and your sister said she'll wait for you there, but she's not there. So she should have been waiting there, but she wasn't. So I like to start out with the subject predicate part, but you can start identifying any part of these sentences that you like. So maybe you see right over here a prepositional phrase, near the car, and it'll be great for you to have your prepositions and your helping or auxiliary verbs with you, this sheet. I put a copy in this with your packet. Keep this in your tub, okay, near the computer, so you always have it ready. So maybe you see near the car. Here's near, so you know that that's a preposition. So let's go ahead and put a P over that. And which one of these after this is the verb? So a verb is always something you can see. So you can't see a the. There's aren't thes out in the parking lot, but there are cars out in the parking lot, so we can see those. So that's going to be our noun. So this is going to be our prepositional phrase. So this is a relatively straightforward and very easy prepositional phrase. You may find another prepositional phrase that's a little bit more sneaky, okay, and that is the one that starts with for. Okay, so that one's here. And then there's only one word in between here, so this is for me. And you are a noun because we can see you. Now you can say, what is this sentence about? Who are we talking about in this sentence? Well, we're probably talking about my sister or your sister. So let's say we put the division between here for the subject and predicate. Is this the action part? Is waiting a verb? Is that an action? Can you see somebody waiting, tapping their foot, or looking around? Sure. So this is the main verb, waiting. And then there's a bunch of helping verbs along with this. There's should. There's have. Oh my goodness. There's been. And there are helping verbs all over the place. So this is should have been. This is a very difficult one. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 verbs here in a verb phrase. Now remember, a phrase is not a complete sentence. Should have been waiting. If someone were to say that to you, you would wait for the rest of the sentence to come along. And if they never told you the rest of the sentence, you wouldn't know what they were talking about. So that's what a phrase is. It's a part, it's a group of words that are part of a complete sentence. Same thing for prepositional phrases. For me, that's not a complete sentence. Near the car is not a complete sentence. It's a part of a complete sentence. These things are missing the subject part. Okay, my sister. So this is complete now. I think we've got everything. We've got the subject, okay, over here, and the predicate part over here. That's all this part. Over to the period. Do we have a period here? I think so. We've got our capital. Okay, so my sentence that I create down here is also going to have a capital and period. That's how we know. Phrases don't get capitals or periods. See how their letters are small? Complete sentences get capitals and periods. Okay, so now I have to think of my original sentence. And I've been thinking about this for a long time. It's been windy, but now the wind has stopped, and I will wash the car after the wind stops. After the wind stops. Okay, so now I'm not going to ask you to map out this sentence. Okay, the sentence that you have down here that are complete, I'm not going to ask you to map them out, but you do have to have a capitals and you do have to have a period. And let me just map out this sentence so I can show you that I've got all these parts covered in my sentence. I is who we're talking about. Will wash. There's my main verb. There's my helping verb. Will wash the car. Okay. After, here's my preposition. The wind. Here's my noun. After the wind stops. Okay. And stops is not a noun. Although we see stop signs, but it doesn't say stop signs. It just says stops. So here's a map of my complete sentence. I started with a capital. I ended with a period. And I have all the parts that we've been practicing and mapping for the last few weeks. We didn't have it the week before. Go ahead and map these sentences. There's plenty of space in there. If you make a mistake, go ahead and have an eraser ready. Okay. And then there's a couple lines here, so maybe you don't get the first sentence correct the first time, but keep working with it, okay? Don't just sit down and write the sentence once and then say, hey, I'm done. See, work with that sentence a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of time to work with that sentence to make sure it's a complete sentence before you go on. You might want to start some sentences down here first and then go back to mapping. I don't care what order you do it in. Try and complete this worksheet. Maybe take 1 or 2 at a time and have it finished before your packet is due on Friday.